I tell you, sometimes I think that naps are just the worst. Um, I got off of my shift around. Well, it's like this. You're supposed to get off at 1 o'clock in the morning. They put that on your schedule. But since I'm involved with closing, many times the schedule will not go the way that it's written out to be. So they'll say your schedule will say, oh, you're here from 5 to 1, 6 to 1. You'll end up being there until, I mean, the first time I did this, I was there till 1:30, a little bit, like halfway through the hour. And then uh, last time I went up there, I was there until about 2:30, 2 something. So about an extra hour of working. And I always say the reason I'm reluctant to do overtime in any capacity is because I do think it's a stamina issue where on paper it sounds really easy to just be like, oh man, I got an extra hour of work, an extra 2 hours of work. But in reality, when you're doing the job where you have to run back and forth and walk over here and stand all day long, it can become physically draining. Like I can do that for 4 hours, 6 hours, but by the eighth hour, I'm starting to get kind of, I don't want to say slower in my step, but it just comes down to the longer you do something where that's like physically demanding, the higher the chance is that you're probably going to be a little, what's a good way of putting it, a little less energetic toward the end of it. So to keep a person that's entering that period of a lessening of stamina still having to contend or do work can lead to an employee who's not as productive as they were when they came in earlier in the day because they've been there all day long. I guess that's how these places are. Now it makes a little bit of sense to me why they were seemingly so desperate to hire somebody when the person's shift is basically at the end of the day. My cousin actually called it the graveyard shift, and that individual has to pretty much just expect to be kept an hour, like if anywhere from an hour to from a few minutes to an hour later past their shift every time they come. It is kind of nuts to work somewhere that closes at 10 o'clock, but then have to still be there. Like sometimes end up being there at up to 2 in the morning. Like they have so much stuff that needs to be restocked and done before the people get there the next day. It's really interesting. Also, we were talking about how this is from a few weeks. I read, is it a month now? I think it's been a month now. But one of the things I talked about during the self parody stream is that you have these individuals who will claim they care about you, but they can assist you with almost nothing. Um, we talked about how, like, I gave them a pass with the school stuff because I said, hey, I don't expect people to just have thousands of dollars laying around, but with many of the things that have come afterward that are much cheaper, the fact that they still won't do anything is like a testament to just how, you know, useless they are. And this person yesterday prompted themselves to show me their uh, bank account, and they didn't get the result they intended. Let's put it that way. Because really, the point I try to make is that for someone to claim that they're so destitute, everything is so expensive, it's like, I'm sorry, but if I truly believed things were difficult, if I truly believed things were so impossible, oh, how can I? It's like, maybe if you get a car, it's one that you own, so you have to keep making payments on it aside from, obviously gas. Maybe when you have a kid with someone, you get married to them so that the two of you can work together to make the rent more affordable for both of yourselves. I just, like I said, a lot of this stuff with them comes down to choices that are just not smart. Like, you're not going to see me be damn near 50 in that condition. You're just not. But it is really really something that they can. That's their way of justifying never actually doing anything to assist me. Oh, so poor, so destitute. I don't know, man. I try, like, it's like this. In a general sense, I can be empathetic to others when I feel as if they are actually in a situation they can't control. Like, we talked about how, with me, I would keep applying for these jobs and they would just never say anything back, or if they hire you, they get rid of you after a few weeks or a few months, no matter how hard you work. But when you're talking about individuals who have gone out of their way to never be sympathetic to me, who have blamed me for everything. It's always your fault if you don't get hired by somebody. It's always your fault if you can get remembered. Just this is the mantra they've had for years. It is extremely difficult for me to be sympathetic to them. It just is, because look at how little they were willing to do that for you. Whole thing is just nuts. They want so much empathy and so much sympathy from somebody that, again, they don't do anything for. Like, they not all, but it's like beyond that, you were antagonistic to in the past. And hey, we don't have to bring up the robbery in broad daylight. They'll never acknowledge how screwed up that was. Because the funniest thing about a lot of people that you'll deal with, just in your personal life, is that they have this uncanny ability to basically do something that you'll deem really screwed up. It's messed up. It's wrong. It's not a good thing at all. But from their own vantage point, they'll be able to pretend like it didn't happen or wasn't that big of a deal. So they'll either deny it outright, or they will try to downplay it, like, oh, I just said this, I just did this. That's what they do. They don't want to be accountable for anything ever. So their way of getting out of being accountable is to first make themselves unaccountable to themselves, to first portray themselves as, these like poor individuals who you just are holding this grudge against for no reason. No, there's a good reason. You might not like it, but that, I mean, hey, just like we were talking about that one relative that didn't, I was upset with them because they didn't go to visit someone that was sick, that that housed them multiple times. And it's like, that person, I wish I could have like played it or recorded it. It's like, this person is so angry at me for being upset over something they did to a person I cared about. Uh, and you can tell they're angry or upset because they expected to get away with doing this stupid thing, which other people have let them get away with. Admittedly, most of them have forgotten or said get over it. Um, but then they also, like, and this is my point before, of like how these people want their cake and want to eat it too, where you have the right to not go see someone that's sick, that took care of you, or rather that housed you twice, but one of the people that was there at the same time that remembers that you acted like a scumbag by not going to visit that person has the same right to stop speaking to you after that. So this goes back to my point of how they don't just want to do something, they also want to control how you respond to what they did. I haven't seen that person all year. Because like I said before, if I all like literally all it takes to phase these people out of your lives is to just live somewhere else. Like that's it. That's how hollow all of these different relationships are. Um, and I said good riddance, you know. They can sit there with their stupid excuses and I'm just sick of these people. I really am. And I've made the point before of how in real life and to an extent online as well, but I guess I'm more open to online things because it's just not as long term. But in real life, there's a lot of people related to me who I only have associations with because of my living condition or being around some other person that like forces me to have some tiny bit of communication with them, that if I lived anywhere by myself, if I was just a lone individual, I would see almost none of these people ever. Because there's nothing to gain from knowing them. They're all garbage. They're all a waste of just any value that would even be considered being brought to you. There shouldn't be any communication. And if I am eventually able to get my way, there won't be. You know, I recognize how hollow all of it is. Oh man. A lot of people will get upset at me for having this belief system, but I think, and this is just my own version of what just of what I think things should be or how they should be. But I think that with almost any job, there's probably something about it that you don't like. For me, it's the distance, the drive, and like the hours. I guess rather the fact you're supposed to get off at this time, but oftentimes you end up getting off later than that, and then still having to drive all the way back home. It's not something I look forward to all that much. But I tried to make it fun. I tried to make some attempts at humor. Um, it's I don't know. I think a lot of the people that I try to stay away from, as far as not at work for I don't have that yet, but just people I know I don't get along with, or I don't feel any type of meaningful connection can come from knowing. I just try to stay away. Like I really think all of these relationships are just dead. Oftentimes somebody will say, "Oh, me and this person did this together. We used to." It's like, yeah, it's over. They don't want to talk to you anymore. No, they get so mad if you stay away. But the sad part is that I look at it from this perspective. If I was told about something I had done that caused a person I supposedly love, they like to use that stupid word. But if a person I supposedly love stops speaking to me for a reason that I was made privy to or aware of, I would apologize to them. It's like, hey, whatever it takes to, get this person back in, their good graces or to speak to them again. That's not what these people do. When they're called to task about something they did, they respond in either two ways. At first, they deny it. They go, "Oh, I didn't do this. Wasn't me." This person must have a memory loss or have replaced me with some other individual. Or if they're told about it, they're going to justify what they did, and on almost no occasion ever actually be accountable for anything that they do. It's I had the one stupid relative or two, excuse me, stupid relatives that were talking about he's entitled. It's like honestly, I would say the people who think just because they're related to you, you're supposed to have some relationship with them are entitled. Like they think that, oh, we're family. I already said before, if I had family that actually cared about me, I wouldn't have had to sit there and not have any assistance with getting a job for what, 3 years, 4 years. So that's already the big thing for me. And as I've explained before, if you see someone having some struggles or issues or whatever, and it costs you nothing other than time to get involved with assisting them, but you don't care. Like, come on. That'll always be the thing I look back. I'm like, wait, if you were so bothered by this, why didn't you assist me? Because they don't actually care. That's the answer. Again, people are really good at like at being actors, right? Oh man, I'm really concerned about Justin. It's like, yeah, but where were you when he was looking for a job? Where were you when he didn't know if he had enough money for food? Like where were you? And the answer is nowhere to be seen. Because as long as it doesn't affect them, it's not a priority. As long as it doesn't affect them, it's not a active thing that they're worried about. They don't care. They have no regard for anyone or anything but themselves. That is their whole agenda. It's just me, 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 me. They're only worried about them. And I think that's really disgusting. But like I said, that's why I try to just stay away because it's hard to be around people like that and not want to lash out. It really is. Because a lot of times you'll sit them down and calmly tell them why you believe something and they'll cut you off. They'll pivot to something else. It's just it's obnoxious, man. Like just a really rancid group. Like I said, I just think if you're going to live, you should be allowed to actually enjoy it. Maybe you don't get all of what you wanted. I certainly haven't. We've talked about the romance stuff time and time again and how irritating that's been, where it's really just a ploy to get people to act extremely nasty towards someone for over a thing that really has nothing to do with them. Um, but at least when I do certain videos, I can say I like this. I like the script we wrote. Um, you know, so there are other things I can take some enjoyment in making or being involved with. But when you're forced to sit around a bunch of relatives that you despise or don't like, just not ideal. Like I could even say in an abstract sense, I would prefer to get paid on here than work a regular job, but I've never been opposed to just regular work. Like The only thing that always kind of worried me is like, where is it located? Where are the hours? And then, am I going to be able to get some rest before that? But as far as, just, oh man, I don't feel like going in. Oh, you know, that normally never happens unless I'm just having one of my, one of those days where you just don't feel like doing much of anything. Like I'm adult enough to have a realistic expectation of this website and of just financial things in general. And I'm not about to sit here and gas myself up and thinking, oh yeah, if I just get enough views, I'll be able to profit off it. No, I don't think so. I think at most, eventually, I'll have some videos, like a little, probably like 10, 20, 30, little tiny slither out all the ones I made that will have some higher number of views than normal, and I'll probably be able to get a little bit of change off of that. But as far as ever actually being able to to live off this site, I don't think so. And again, it's whatever to me because as long as I'm employed somewhere else, I'm not. It's not like a thing that bugs me and drives me crazy. Like I like the idea of more views. 'Cause it seems it appears more people are watching stuff. But if it doesn't happen, it's not something it's something I can live without. Is what I'm getting at because so many others have tried and not been successful. So why would I be a cut above the rest? No, I have to go back there on Tuesday. So hopefully I can finish part 4 of the documentary before then. I've got most of the script written. Because like I said, I've been using two different books and I'm trying to make sure I get all the information. What ends up happening a lot of times is you'll use one book and you'll finish or almost be done with everything from that one book. You go, okay, good, great, thing's almost over. And you're like, oh, wait, still got to read 100 plus pages out of this one too. Jim finally wrote something on part 3. I thought I'd never see the day. Yeah, I've just been really busy with my n- t- 2 new jobs, so that's why it's taking a little bit longer to get part 4. But it is almost done. I'm gonna try to finish it in the next couple of days. I just have a lot of errands to run today, so I probably be able to get to it until this afternoon. Part 4 will be the middle of the Senate years. So from like 56, 57, 58, because that's when we have the 1956 Democratic Convention where he tries to outmaneuver Adlai Stevenson, and the Joseph Kennedy proposal to have him be the guy that he like props up with his son as the running mate, and Civil Rights Act of 57, and a lot of stuff happens. Now, don't congratulate me yet. You already know how these jobs are. They'll hey, just like my recruiter said, you can be hired one day and fired the next. So let's not get too excited. They have had me for a total of, I think, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. We're not in any type of safety zone yet. They could easily be like goodbye. I tell you, my friend's gonna go on TV and they're gonna ask him, "What do you think of his of your of Justin's 2 new jobs?" He's gonna be like, "They're gonna take it from him again." And then you see the giant hand, as I'm working at this giant hand just reaching out to to snatch the jobs away. Because that's based off of I think it was Trump or someone else. They were warning Bernie. They were like, about the Democratic nomination. Don't let them take it from you again." So the whole time you're working, that hand is just reaching, and no matter how hard you work, no matter how much stuff they say they like about you, they'll just yank the job away. Oh, Jim, let me also give you some spoilers. In the background, without any announcements, I've done some pieces of an FDR one. I have 2 books on him. I'm not gonna. I originally was thinking of doing one of those before doing part 4, but I'm gonna do part 4 first because it's way longer and I've just been it's been like in development hell for the last few months. Um and really the script is mostly done. I just have to add some more things in there. But I'm trying to finish part 4 and part 5. I think part 5 is probably going to be the last few years in the Senate and then the 1960 campaign and probably the VP position because there's not that much written on that. But what I'm getting at is I'm trying to finish all of the pre-presidency stuff with Johnson because next year, 2024, is the year of two men, Carter and H.W. Bush. And I'm not even kidding. I want to start Carter before January is even halfway through. I got a whole bunch of books on him. So I'm trying to get most of Johnson's stuff out of the way so that if I come whenever I come back to him, it'll just be the presidency, and then we'll be at least like halfway through. Well, whether he survives this year or not, I'm still talking about him next year because it's his centennial. Oh, dude, they were all talking about uh, uh he's probably going to pass at the end of the week. So they already have been predicting his demise for years. It's one of the most morbid things I've ever seen. Somebody's wife passes, so you're just I don't know. I think it's nasty, but whatever. Jem, I know that you felt a certain disturbance in the force. I didn't know what to say about Kissinger. What am I going to go and mention that on social media people are celebrating and jumping for joy and putting rest in piss and all other stuff like what was I supposed to say? I'd love to know. I would love to be informed on how I should have responded to that. It was just another day in the hood for me. That's okay. Well, whatever. You can go watch TYT for that. They're the ones that like to do the death in the limelight stories where they don't talk about you ever. But then if you pass, oh, here's all the good and bad things this person did that we just could never find time to talk about while they were alive. Okay, go watch Kyle then. You can see him talk about him. I think he did a video on Kissinger. I don't know. Okay, go watch the Majority Report with your friend Sam Cedar. And he'll tell you why. Yeah, I mean, come on, let him, explain the ups and downs. What's the other one? Humanist Report. What's the other guy? There's another one that's in there. I'm forgetting his name. It's not Jimmy. It's somebody else. Oh, I'm sure if I ever ran for anything, I'd be on his channel, and not in a good way though. He would say I betrayed you, and because I didn't fight every single Democrat in the whole country, I'm selling you out. I already know. He'll read some mean tweets about me too, because that's what they do. I felt so bad for Rokana. It's like that guy went on his show multiple times, and because he didn't vote the way he wanted on what was it, I think the COVID package or something to that effect, he was like, "He's betraying us. He sold us out." It's like, damn, you just can't win if you're a member of Congress. Like every vote you have will be scrutinized. Everything you do will never be enough. It's just it's incredible. It's not even just tweets. It's like you have these social media influencers. Like imagine this. You get elected to the House, like AOC did, right? But by not even a margin of 20,000 votes. And despite a group that's not even a fifth of 100,000 electing you, suddenly people from other states all know who you are. At least they're more familiar with you than sometimes their own congressperson. And you've got this, and like no matter how you vote, you have this guy on YouTube with over 1 million subs that's gonna say you're betraying people. Yeah, but it's like held accountable for what? I mean, it really is just this purity test where if you don't vote in the way that they would like on every single issue, you have betrayed them. Like if you say you support single payer, but that you can't get it passed because most of the Democrats are, and of course the Republicans don't back Medicare for all. You're a big pharma stooge. You've sold out the voters, and the voters are not saying this. A couple of guys on the internet are saying it. Because most voters are not sitting there scrolling through House votes. So you're really like being egged on as a bad representative or person by a pretty small group of guys with a big following online. No, I know when Jem found out about Rosalind, he was sitting over there with his eyes watering. I mean, one of your earliest memories was when you for Christmas received a signed copy of First Lady from Plains. One of your most prized possessions, you had it in a nice plexiglass on your mantle. I think I actually do have a copy of that book. I'd like to get a see if I knew something was going to happen to her, I would have probably have gotten a signed one a long time ago. Because now all the scalpers on all these different websites are going to try to charge you like 60, 70, $80. It's crazy. I'm not even kidding. One time I was on eBay and somebody had Ted Kennedy's autograph for like I think less than $20. My mouth hit the floor. Like, I'm getting that instantly. Man, somebody had I think it was there was some book that Carter wrote in the 2000s. I don't remember which one it was, but somebody was selling a signed copy of it, and to prove that he signed it, they took pictures of him at the signing. This is like 2014, 13, like a little bit over 10 years ago. They actually sent the pictures too. So like you get the signed book and the photos that prove that he signed it. I said, yeah. Oh man, I tell you, it has been a really tumultuous last couple of weeks. That's all I can say. I'm just thinking about all the stuff I have to do today. It's even when you get a break, you don't. No, I have Blood of Abraham. That was one of the books he wrote during the 80s. Because I think I remember he undertook some Middle East trip and was like writing about the findings on it. No, I remember the look on Jem's face when he found out that his one of his heroes had passed. There was a real sense of disappointment. I remember, and when Jem went into his Hall of Heroes, he said, "At least my favorite governor is still around." And then he pulled out his black sunglasses and leather coat. He put out a book a month ago. I didn't even know that it was getting released or anything. Oh, all of them are better than Killer. I tell you, Hillary's the only first lady I don't like. I like I despise Bush, but I always liked his wife because she pushed the whole literacy thing. Um, Melania was whatever. I didn't have any issue with her. I know she got into trouble for a jacket that she wore or something. It was goofy. Uh, no, I was referring to the most famous California governor besides Reagan, Arnold. I mean, I thought Laura was pretty. I'll tell you, DeSantis wrote a book earlier this year, and I thought it was horrible. He's lucky I got that off of eBay. I would have sent that back in a heartbeat. That thing was, and like I try to explain, even like politicians, public figures I don't like, such as Kissinger. The one thing that they have is that when they write something, you can feel their voice. You can feel some type of what's a good way of putting it? Um, like for example, Bush wrote a book, right? The son, not the dad. And it's like I can read that and tell that he wrote it. Maybe he had a ghostwriter, maybe he had someone there. Oh no, I think his staffers did because that's my point that there's no voice. There's nothing in it where you're like, "Oh, that's how he talks. Yeah, this is a way that he speaks, or this is something." Just like in reading Robert Caro's LBJ series, he has a very distinct voice as an author, where he'll describe how Johnson was wearing this blue suit and he was lanky and towering over all of those around him, and the halls were filled with silence as the dust on the desk from it not being cleaned. And he has an extremely distinct writing style that's detailed, that is descriptive. And it's so like there's so much life in one of Caro's books that if you switch from reading that to that trash DeSantis put out the Star of the Year, you're going to notice. If you're actually paying attention to what you're reading, you will notice one was written with an actual voice and distinct way of communicating. Yeah, Carol's series is acclaimed, man. That's one of the best presidential biographies ever. Honestly, I could just make videos where I just read his books, and I would like I don't even have to like write out my own stuff. Just read all four of his current values. Like, okay, that's my documentary. Just reading this because they're all descriptive. They're all detailed. Um, Again, I feel like I'm in the 50s. Like that, just the way he describes things and gives all these details about past events to give you the context. It's nice. I see why this series was a bestseller. Just wish the last volume would finally come out. No, he is just so boring. DeSantis never like I It's crazy to think that's a guy who got his political career started by writing a book, and then he puts out another one over 10 years later after he's had some more success, and it's that bad. Dude, Pence's book was better. Your favorite VP. Yeah, he was talking about Christian values and all that, but it still felt more like it was him. You can have him. I just hate it when you get a book and they don't even put the damn like cover on there. Just oh well, nothing to protect it. Oh, it was torn up. It's like, yeah, I still would have liked to have had it. My favorite part was when that one guy came on stream. He's like, "What book is this?" Like, dude, let's not live in any kind of fantasy or delusion. Your interest in this is a thing that will last for 2 seconds. Okay, so let's not play this game. Oh yeah, this is his landmark biography by David McCullough. I know that book won an award. It came out back in the 90s. I know he wrote one on Adams too. I just never got around to reading that either. Mm. Oh, I've got some on Churchill. I tell you, my friend that practiced the mundane existence, he only knew who Churchill was because of the stupid shirt. Like there's some shirt that he saw that has poor FDR out of time. Think how sad that is, man. That like imagine if you're considered one of the most important figures of an entire century. You lead your country through the worst global catastrophe ever, and you're only remembered by this guy who's got no interest in history, barely can remember the politicians of his own damn country because you were on a shirt he saw one time or a few times rather. And he still doesn't actually know anything about you. He just knows your name. God, man. I know, I'm just saying that it's really sad that there's like so much stuff here that people just are not familiar with. And again, it's not because this information is hidden. It's not because books are $100,000. Was it the I'm forgetting the conference, but there was some conference that Roosevelt went to where a doctor accurately predicted he would die in a few months. I'm forgetting which one it was, but it was some world leader meeting he went to where a doctor inspected him and said he would die in months of the meeting. Ah, there we go. Potsdam or Potsdam. Do you don't think it's like so sad that information is readily available and because people just don't care, they don't know any of it? Because remember, we had this conversation about Martin Luther King. It's like one of the most famous African Americans in all of American history. There's a whole holiday named after him. But if you go up to a lot of people, the only thing they'll talk about is, oh, I have a dream and him being assassinated. That's it. Well, I mean, Uncle Joe isn't exactly in tip-top shape himself, so I don't think he's a good character witness for the way somebody about looking proper and strong, you know. I still think doing a Biden documentary would be hilarious, like, because you know, if we get an official one by like a major news company, they're gonna leave out all the things that he did that were awful as senator. Like, they're not gonna talk about the '90s crime bill or any of that. Or remember what he said? The what was it about desegregating in Delaware? The racial jungle. I just can't believe that like the current American president like as a senator was opposed to desegregated busing. like like that would sound like a president from 30 years ago, 40 years ago. Nope. The current one was against desegregated busing, like on record as being against it. Oh, they'll never talk about that's why I said all the stuff that he did as senator that was screwed up. If we ever get a major studio created documentary on him, it's going to cut all of that out. They're going to make it sound like he was just this jolly Gentile figure who was in the Senate for 3 decades and mostly was just kind of in the background, ran it for president a few times, uh, had some verbal gaffes. Yeah, that's what they do. I mean, one of the reasons I don't want to do a JFK documentary is because if we actually talk about him before he became president, it's not going to be nice. It will not be pleasant. And you'll have all his little fanboys. I can't believe you said this about it. Oh well. Well, Harris called him out, but then she agreed to be his VP. So what does that tell you about her? Hmm. I mean, I don't have any malice towards this man. I'm just telling the truth. Like, he was a pretty generic senator. He didn't really stand out in any meaningful way. Well, guess what, Jem? I already know that if it was Harris versus Trump, you would go for the cuckoo any day of the week. So let's not even pretend that she wouldn't be on your list of people to back. He stood out in the fact that he made tons of dude. The crazy part about Biden is that I know you're talking about Kennedy, but just like I think it's funny that he was actually one of the poorest senators. Like when Biden first became VP, he had a net worth of less than $30,000, and now he's a multi-millionaire from all those paid speeches and all the other little crooked stuff they do to make money while they're in office. That's a hell of an arc, right? To be as old as 60 something and only have like 30,000 bucks, which is not, I'm not insulting anyone. It just showed you how modest he was, right? And it's like after all those years as senator, just kind of have enough money to get by, to be kind of comfortable a little bit, whatever. You you just basically are like, okay, well, time to get paid. No, Jem, JFK's like whole historical significance as senator was being buddy buddies with one of the worst senators ever, McCarthy, um, being out of commission oftentimes because how sick he was, and again, not really like standing out in anything. He was just kind of there. His dad wanted one of his kids to be president. Before that, they have to run for something else. So that was just the route he took. No, I felt really bad for Kotsky Merchant. He showed up, he wrote one thing, and then he was like, "All right, I'm out of here." People are always making these cameos, man. That's one of the reasons why the new movies aren't that good anymore because everyone just wants to make a cameo. They don't want to contribute meaningfully to the story. Mm. Oh, I'm still waiting for an answer to my question, Akatsuki Merchant. I'd love for you to tell me how you could have this extremely successful movie franchise that just 4 short years ago put out a film that made over $1 billion, and now they're underperforming, and in their last pursuit of money, they outright failed. I'd love for you to explain that to me. I want you to articulate how Marvel Studios could fall so far in not even half a decade. I'd love for you to tell me that. There's no right or wrong answer, but I need you to articulate to me in Roman English how this studio that used to have the most successful movie franchise ever went from up here to down there. Bad decisions from the executives. No, I think there's more factors involved. Like, yeah, that's the root of it. But they hire a lot of people who've never even read any of the comics. So like people who have barely seen any of the films that the comics are based on, and on top of that, haven't even read the source material that they're supposed to be adapting. Could you imagine if somebody said, "Hey, make a movie on Harry Potter," and you're like, "Okay," and they're like, "Have you seen Harry Potter?" No, I haven't. It's like, yeah, then you're not getting the job. Yeah, but Jem, it's like they made this movie 4 years ago on this character that nobody wanted, and Akatsuki Merchant knows who I'm talking about, and the movie was sandwiched between Infinity War and Endgame, which are two films that everyone was excited for, right? So people went to it thinking, "Oh, this has something to do with this, big peak, huge story that everyone is trying to figure out what the clues and connective tissues are of." So when the thing makes over $1 billion, they're thinking, "Oh, people they must really like this character, despite what plenty of critics and actual fans are saying about how she's boring, she's generic, badly acted, but just nothing about her is appealing whatsoever, right?" Uh, so there's some self-awareness on their parts to where when they do a sequel to that movie, they take her name out of the title because they know a lot of people do not like this character. But then when they make the sequel, and it underperforms, and that's an understatement. This thing flops. It was made for a budget of like 200 million. It still hasn't even made that tiny bit of money back. So you can forget about it breaking even after all these weeks. But the fans don't go and say, "Hey, you know what? We never had this problem before these last couple of years." Like where stuff would get made and it just wouldn't make money back. We never had this issue before. But again, instead of them admitting this thing failed, it's our lowest grossing film ever. We've been doing this for about what 15, 16 years. This is the first one to not be able to make back what it cost. So we need to like seriously reevaluate ourselves. What do the fans say? Oh, the reason the movie didn't perform is because there was a strike and the actors weren't able to promote it. And you're thinking to yourself, that's totally bogus. Remember earlier this year, not even at the start of the year, midway through this year over the summer, we had Jem's favorite movie of all time, Barbie, and Oppenheimer. And both of these films came out a few short months ago during the strike. And guess what? One made over $1 billion, and the other one, last time I checked, made over 900 million. So I just put it like this: these people will put out garbage that no one wants to watch, and they will insist it's always another factor. They will never be accountable for anything they do or for what their studios do. The actors were on strike, so they couldn't promote the movie. Even though other movies came out that were also released during the strike and were still able to actually make back money. I don't even like using this word, but just like imagine simping for Disney, like you don't get paid by them, you're not an employee, you're not working for them, but you're like, there's nothing they could do. The actors were on strike, and uh people are just maybe tired of how much stuff is out there related to superhero. Oh god, man, it's so gross. Like, you realize that if you can't get a job, people will tear you down, they will throw you and spit you and chew you out, right? But if these major studios put up some ridiculous crappy film that nobody wants to go see, well, there are plenty of factors that could have caused that to happen. Ugh. It really makes my stomach turn, man, because it's like these are actual, like, I'm not even kidding. There was a broad on, like, I on Piscord, and she was writing stuff so dumb when we were talking to each other in private messages that for the first time in a long time I just stopped responding because it was just so aggravating that people can be fans of things and turn and to such an extent that they turn their brain off from any criticism of that thing. Like, I had this conversation before with let me read what Akatsuki Merchant wrote. I think another factor is that people aren't very critical of the media they consume, so it makes these studios think they don't have to try that hard and treat the audience like we're dumb. Yeah. They thought they were too big to fail. They thought they could put 200 million into anything and people were going to just go flock and see it. But now they're finding out the hard way that no, you need to actually make a good story with characters that people care about, or else it's going to end up like this. No one I know in real life has ever said they like Captain Marvel. No one I know in real life has ever said they like this iteration of Miss Marvel. The only Miss Marvel that I ever saw people talking about in real life and thought was cool was Carol Danvers back when she had that sexy black leotard costume with the yellow lightning bolts and the red sash and the boots that came all the way up her legs and the gloves that came all the way up her arms and the long flowing blonde hair. But they don't like that anymore. They said that looks too attractive. All the women have to be covered from head to toe. Dude, that was one of my favorite designs of any like comic character because it was God, I miss when chicks used to be attractive, like just when they were drawn to like be physically appealing to men. Like, man, the long hair flowing in the wind with the mask that covers only the eyes, and you see her lips and The gloves are like right here. I was like, why did they get rid of that for this stupid? Yeah, that's Japanese. I'm talking about like with American comics, they have really gone out of their way, especially from the big two companies, to make women less and less attractive. Like when they draw them and the stuff that they have them wearing, it's really sad. No, this was before. They're talking about they want to get rid of the male gaze. Like, give me a break. I'll never forget in Avengers, they have that shot where Black Widow's talking to Loki, and you can see her whole backside. So many men pausing the movie when they had it on DVD. Dude, I refuse to watch any full length Marvel film that stars Brie Larson. I never saw Captain Marvel, and I'm not seeing the Marvels. I'll watch videos people talking about how garbage it is, but that's it. I don't want to see anything with that lady in a starring role. The only film she was in that I saw was Endgame, and that's only because I mean, what can you do? It's the grand finale, and they cut her out of most of it. Thank God, but still, it's like that. That's it. Anytime you give her a starring role, I'm skipping it. I can be tempted to sit through every other thing they put out, but no, 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 Jem. Like, why watch a movie that you know you're going to not like? I always said if I didn't like her for 10 minutes in Endgame, why would I want to sit through 2 hours of her, or excuse me, now 3.5 hours in films about her? Like, what? Why? Dude, I'm not even kidding. If Marvel writers were actually competent, Carol Danvers as Miss Marvel could have been their like equivalent to Wonder Woman, but they because they were so like desperate to just get rid of her actually attractive costume and give her this like gender neutral code name. Oh, they botched it. Like she gets her powers miraculously knows how to use. Of course. No training, no. Remember in the first Iron Man, we had a whole training sequence of him learning how to use the suits. Remember, he was crashing into stuff, and he who could forget he was in the first or I think it was the Mark II, and he got frozen in the sky because he didn't know to check for the freezing or for the right temperature. There was a whole learning curve for him in that original 2008 masterpiece film. But these modern heroes, they don't have to do anything. Their new version, Miss Marvel, in that Disney Plus show that nobody watched, she got her powers through the mail. Her grandma sent her a little bracelet. So what a fantastic origin, you know? God, what adversity came from that? Jem said that he likes Wonder Woman. I like Wonder Woman too. You know, they've tried to give her pants multiple times, and it always fails. People do not like those design changes. They said, no, I want the undies. Yeah, in the first movie, he was learning how to design the suit to be optimal and combat effective, lots of mess ups, and going back to the drawing board. Right, but I'm saying that's why when he fights Ironmonger, who's got an older, a suit made of the older materials, and it crashes from it freezing up, it doesn't just come out of nowhere. It's actually established from earlier parts of the film that these previous versions of his armor can't sustain what the last one he makes in the movie are able to do. So I said you can have this whole new universe they have where it's a bunch of characters that nobody cares about in lead roles. You can have it. And it's like the most directionless thing I've ever seen, man. Like, oh, Kang is going to be the new Thanos. He's the new big bad. It's like, yeah, he's so bad that he lost to Ant-Man. That could just be a variant. I really don't like these fans. They will never ever be accountable for admit any like screw ups of their own thing. Just like, I said before, I like phases 1 through 3 just fine, like the overall story. But the two biggest things that plague it for me was their really garbage use of the Hulk, which again came from the fact that Universal wouldn't let them make a solo movie, even though they could still give him bigger roles and other stuff, but whatever. Um, and most of the villains were not good either. Those were really the only two big problems I had with the Infinity Sagas, like phases 1 through 3. Just the Hulk was treated horribly, just for no for 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 semi legitimate reasons, but then also reasons aren't that good, and then also the villains weren't great for the most part. It's so crazy. Marvel has so many good villains, and they just I don't know how they messed that up for as long as they did. That's crazy. Yeah, Jem decided to leave. He's over there reading First Lady from Planes. I just imagine he reads that book and he's got Barbie playing on his computer and he's trying to drown me out with both of them. God, I'm just astonished that they've fallen this far in such a short amount of time. And I always ask myself, why does every movie have to be 200 million? Like, because remember, I said before, they don't look good. Like, even the ones that I like are still mostly just a bunch of green screens and, just not very effective at actually looking like something I'd want to see or sit in or whatever. I mean, I like Civil War as a movie just fine, but that the filter on that film is ugly. It's all dark. 200 million to make a movie. I don't know. I just think these films are getting way too expensive. I feel like the maximum budget for a superhero film probably should be like maybe 100 million. Um, Again, you could argue in the case of team up films, you might want something a little bit bigger, but I just think this stuff is getting to be too much. That's why they're losing so much money. Like they spend way too much on these things, and then when they don't do as well as they would like, um, you know, they're like, oh damn, didn't see that coming. I'm telling you that whole thing with the Marvels, there was a part of them that could kind of figure, yeah, Captain Marvel is not a well liked character. Maybe if we lie to the audience, right? We change the name of this sequel to be this like team up movie with all these characters nobody cares about. Maybe then we can like stave off the doom, but no. Megumi, I don't even want to look at you because when I did my video on the banana penalty, you didn't leave one comment. You let that clown come and write something in your place. So I'm gonna ignore all your comments. We're gonna treat you like a pariah. You know what? We're gonna treat you like the Marvels, where no one went to go see that movie. No one's gonna read your comments. Your comments are gonna flop. They're gonna cost the studio millions of dollars. They're like, why are we even writing these? Nobody's reading it. I really never thought I'd see an MCU film just like totally bomb. I still can't believe it. And this has really been the year of just catastrophe for superhero films. It's quite incredible. Like when Ant-Man 3 came out and it only made 400 million, it's like, okay, that's not great or good, but it's whatever. You know, disappointment. Uh and then you get Guardians 3, which does good, but not probably as well as they would have liked. They probably wanted $1 billion film. And then you get this, and it's just yeah, I hope that you check it out because I really did try to expedite putting that. I was like, yeah, I haven't done an edited romance video in a while. Let me try to, or excuse me, an edited video that was adjacent to romance because I made this point very clear in the video. I wasn't trying to date her. That this whole friendship collapsed because of an outside agitator uh, who accused me of wanting something that I didn't, and she just was too spineless to stand up, you know, for the fact that that wasn't what was happening. But the guy in the comment section seems to think I was friend zoned, even though I say explicitly I did not. You know, there's just people, they hear what they want to hear when they watch something. You might as well not even bother saying anything. They'll just interpret it in whatever way they like. No, I'm astonished. Every time I go online, I just look up that box office. Like this is as good as it gets. Yeah, I remember. And is that comment still there? I'd like to read it. Oh, it's still there because I was thinking of doing. It wouldn't be a video about it by itself. It would just be because we never made one on romance fan fiction where people just make up stuff. Right, like you explain things, and they still make stuff up anyway. Um, that would probably figure into it. I mean, who could forget Triple L, right? And her oh, this woman said that she doesn't want to talk to you on the phone ever. I think she meant that she didn't want to talk to you on the phone yet. It's like, no, I have the screenshot of the message right here where she says, I will not talk to you unless it's typed. It's like there's no promise of eventually none of that. It's written very clearly. I will not talk to you. Yeah, dude, I didn't put this in the video, but the chick that was on Piscord, the one that's the subject of the banana penalty, she actually said that she barely talks to anyone over the phone who isn't a family member, and that's why when we would speak, there would be these pauses where she wouldn't say anything. It's like, well, I mean, if I'm talking to someone for 2 3 hours, I can't be that shy, but also there probably are going to be periods where maybe both sides are doing something. You know, it just came out of nowhere, and it seemed like nonsense. So yeah, that might I might make that for Christmas. Romance fan fiction. Just people just make up whatever they like. Maybe this happened. Maybe this occurred. I don't know. You tell me. It's really obnoxious. Too many lies. No, I just feel really bad for Akatsuki Merchant. His movie just fell through. Oh, my favorite thing about the new one of the new jobs, Megumi, is that they have me for the closing shift from 5 to 1 or 6 to 1. And I was like, okay, cool. I guess I usually stay up to those hours anyway. And I'm telling you, every time they close, it's like there's a snag where you would think you're gonna get off at 1, but then they keep you around even later past that because they have all these little side quests and submissions and things that they want you to do. Better off just not saying anything and letting them say everything instead. Post that as your video since we are just since we are just going to make up stuff. Yeah, like why even bother explaining things? People are just gonna oh, this person must be into men. This person must be 5'3". Like it doesn't matter. Anytime you explain something, show proof of something, they don't believe it. So that's why when I did the one on the woman that was talking on nasty on Discord, I was like, well, if I didn't play the audio, they would say I made it up. You don't get the benefit of the doubt online ever. No, every time I go to that job, it's like, oh, you're coming at 5 or 6, 8 hour shift. Actually, more like 8.5. Or on Thursday was the worst. I got there early because they're like an hour away from where I live. So I was there from 4 to 2. Started at 5 and then still didn't get off until over an hour later because they wanted to make sure all the stuff was finished. Yep, I definitely know that you mean. For the most part, I don't mind, but at times they expect you to do that every time or more often. So far, it's been each time that I've had to work that late. Uh, and listen, my thing is it's mostly just a stamina issue because when you have a job where you have to stand up or move around or whatever for hours, like first 2 hours, fine. First 4 hours, you're okay. First 6 hours, okay. Eight, kind of ready to go home. Nine, can we just get this over with? I mean, it really just comes down to at a certain point you get tired and you're looking forward to finally going home. So for them to be like, do this, do that, clean this, clean that. It's like, oh my God, just you just want to get out of there. By the end of it, it was me and this guy and one of the managers, and I joked to her. I said, I know you're trying to keep me in this building until the next shift starts at 7 a.m. so I can work another so I can work 2 shifts in less than 2 days. Man, I'm telling you, what the second that she said we could go, I bolted out of there, jumped in my car, sped down the freeway, and got back to that. And traffic over here is so bad that if you go on the freeway, you could you could leave 2 hours before your thing is supposed to start and possibly end up being late because it just so much traffic, right? But then when I would leave at 1 or 2 in the morning, you can get back home in like less than half an hour. Like that's just how cleared up they are because everybody's at home sleeping. But they expect you to get used to it, of course. Well, again, it's like anytime you tell somebody you're working these hours to these hours, you create an expectation of, okay, I just have to survive these 8 hours tonight, not these nine, not these 10, not these 8.5. Because what the way I feel about it is this. If you showed up to this thing late, right? They wouldn't say, "Oh, it's okay. You only missed 30 minutes," right? They would go, "No, you can't miss this much time. You're late. Next time this happens, you're gonna get whatever." They'll give you some kind of like warning, threat, etc. But if they keep you past the allotted time that they said they would have you, you don't have a right to say, "Hey, this is getting kind of insane. Like, you guys told me I got off at 1, and I'm still here at almost 3. Like, what is that?" Remember, they don't give you any courtesies by, hey, you come a little bit later than what you had planned because of traffic or whatever. They don't care. But you're supposed to care about their store or shop or business enough to stay even longer than the time that was stated before. So that's just my opinion. Remember, they will throw you away if you come in late by even 5 minutes. But if you stay there for an extra hour, an extra 30 minutes, an extra 2 hours, that's all well and good. Like, really? That's why I said you can have them. Held as a hostage. Yeah, you can't leave. When you do the closing shift, uh they tell you you have to stay there until the manager says you can go. They have turned off their light and they go, okay, you can now leave. I was so happy I bolted out of there. You would have thought I was in the Olympic race as fast as I ran. I was oh so tired. I'm telling you, and my favorite part is all the surveillance, right? Like, hey, we saw you talking to this person. We saw, that just all the cameras that they have. Because I saw their camera room where they have a whole room of just like must be 16 different cameras all on one screen. And I was thinking to myself, isn't it crazy that they have enough money to just have that thing running all day and night long, right? Just at almost all hours of the day, all hours of the night, just cameras running and running and running and running, including when people aren't even there to watch the thing. But oh, you want to work an extra day for 6 hours? One gripe I have concerning with certain jobs is the language barrier. Not only the people you work with are foreigners, also supervised. Oh yeah, a lot of the people around me are Hispanic and they speak Spanish, and you like you'll sit there because again you're supposed to be like on this team or whatever, so they'll have to like repeat it again in English. Dude, my favorite part was when one of the guys asked the other one. He was talking about like a phone, right? He's like, "Hey, how good's the camera?" And he's like, "I thought you were talking about their security." Because they were standing like right next to the room where you could see the different like the all the footage from the different cameras that they have. He's like he was gonna rob the place. Hey, how good's the camera? I thought you were talking about the cameras for their security. And they tend to speak in their own native language, even if you're around and can't understand what they are saying. I always thought that was inconsiderate and rude. Well, yeah, because one of the things that's like established in real life and also on like you've seen in different shows and movies is that when people want to talk trash about someone, they'll speak in a language that they assume the person doesn't know, so they can like get away with basically insulting them or saying demeaning things about them right in front of them or like right around them. But my favorite thing about this place is that they have so much food that they just waste. Like, oh, people didn't eat this, or we made more than the amount of people. Like we made so much that by the time we closed, that there was like some. I was able to get one of the managers to like let me take some of it home, to where it was like the only thing I ate for the last day or so because I just grabbed so much of it and stuck it in this big container. But it's like they really just make a bunch of food that if there's enough of it backed up to where they have it after the place closes, they just throw it in the trash. And I was like, think of how sad this is. You got all these homeless, starving people, especially in the biggest state in the whole country, and they make this food that they just that again it's perfectly edible. I took some of it. It's like they'll just throw it away. Whatever. Oh well. I don't know. I just think that's crazy. Like I really believe that there is something wrong with making all that food and then being like, well, shop's closed. Yep, and they won't even think twice and give it one of their employees or no, dude. My first day of being there during those hours. I think it was either the first day or the second day. I think it was either the yeah, probably the second one. But on my second day, one of the guys asked me, "Hey, do you want some of this stuff before I throw it?" I was like, "Oh, yeah, sure," because I was so taken aback by being offered free food because it's been like a whole year of just if you want something to eat, you have to get this, you have to. So man, I almost had tears in my eyes when he gave me the thing and put and like wrote my name on it. I was like, wow. Trust me, I sometimes struggle to remember names of the because I when you work at all these different places, they just but I won't forget his name, and I haven't. Not after that. But and when I asked the manager last time I was there, hey, can I take some of this home? There, you know what her response was? Okay, but be quick. I think how insane this is. We're here for another 3 hours, and all I'm doing is I'm getting the container, and I'm scooping this stuff up onto the thing, right, and then closing it up, writing my name on it so people know who it is. It's like you don't think that's nuts that like you have to give someone a warning when they want to go and pick up some leftovers, like and remember this is all in the same little like small. It's not like you have to run across the street or something. It's all in this same small space. I thought it was like crazy. Like I'm glad they okayed it, but just to attack you could tell, man, people just they don't care. Throw away all that good chicken and mashed potatoes and what's the other one? Bread and all like all this good stuff just gets tossed out. Okay, but be quick. God, you can't like I remember what did the other jobs say when they got rid of me? He didn't have the speed we were looking for. He doesn't have the speed we're looking for. Like, does that include when he tries to get himself something to eat out of the food that we want to waste, that we throw away for no reason every day? I'm not even kidding. Like that's enough. They make enough of that stuff to where everyone that works there probably would have a whole day of just food that would last them throughout a whole day at like not even counting. Now they don't make meatloaf, but just like I'm talking about stuff that is good for about another at least 2 days. Like that's crazy when you just if you see how full these containers are of stuff that they just throw out for what seems to be the hell of it, you really would just it's sad. And again, maybe it's because I haven't worked there that long. I'm not as desensitized to it. But it's like I remember when I worked at the other restaurant, they didn't do that. Like stuff that they made that didn't sell the day before, um, they would put in the refrigerator. I mean, just it's just so wasteful. Okay, yeah, but what I'm getting at is if you make food, like, listen, they don't care if it's healthy or not. Okay, you know that. So if you make food that is good in the sense that it's edible, if someone's hungry, they're gonna not be hungry after they eat some of it, and you say, "Oh man, the store's closed. Okay, time to throw out all this good food." It's like you don't think that's nuts? Like you don't think, hey, maybe we could package some of this? Nothing, just whatever, just throw it away. There are places that'll restrict anyone from having the leftovers due to it being unprofessional or tainting toward the business's reputation, and that's stupid. That really is because if the food is as long as it has not been tampered with or screwed up in any way, I don't see the problem with giving it to someone that's hungry. Like I really don't. It's just so gross, man. Like I guess that's really just like the epitome of what life is at this point. Just a waste. Like we have all these chicks that if they actually acted like human beings, could contribute something, but they just, you know, just waste themselves, waste their own life. Uh maybe that's like the perfect way of describing all this stuff. This is the era of waste. You can have things that would benefit someone else, but instead of giving it to someone that it would benefit, you just throw it away, right? There are people who, if they actually spoke to another person, they probably would have an enjoyable time. But instead of talking to that person, they just, throw them away. I tell you before, like a lot of these chicks on social media, they actually see posting as talking to other people. Like they'll write something, and then when people thumb it up or heart it, to be like, yeah, I look at all this engagement. But as far as an actual exclusive one-on-one dial, it doesn't have to be a call. It could just be like typing things. Hey, how are you doing? With almost never. I can't tell how many chicks I see on Twitter who post no DMs. It's like, damn. Okay. No, this is just the era of waste. People just do not care. Anything that's important to you or that could benefit someone else, it doesn't even cross their mind. Yeah, that has always thrown me off from actually attempting to speak to one of them. Dude, I'm not even kidding. There was a woman I sent a DM to on it was like October 5th, at the start of the month, right? And it took her and she's on there every single day. Okay. It took her almost 3 weeks to say something back to me, to where when I got the notification of, oh, you have a new deal, I was like, who could this possibly? Because I didn't remember sending anyone anything, that I would say was recent, right? It's funny because by the time she responded, I had already unfriended or unfollowed and like just basically moved on. It was like, okay, thanks for finally responding. It's a little too little too late. They can become so hostile toward the most basic of requests or engagement. Well, you remember the person on Discord that blocked me for saying hello to him. So I mean, that's why I told you that. And like, I guess what drives me crazy is social media, less so YouTube because people are mostly like making stuff on here, but sites like Twitter and Discord and back in the day, MySpace, Facebook, just places like this. They're all designed for the explicit purpose of people talking to each other. They're supposed to come on there, hey, how are you doing? Hi, and interact. And maybe there's some people you don't like, but you only find it out if you've spoken to them, or maybe you spoke to them somewhere else. So when you have someone you've never met before and you say hello to them, and then their response is hello and goodbye, and they block, it's like, well, why are you online if you're gonna make it to where people who are committing the crime of just wanting to talk to you, uh, are supposedly like are not worthy of speaking to you. Like, what's the point of you being on here? Because at least on YouTube, you could say someone's only on there to watch stuff, right? Just be entertained, whatever. But on these other sites, there's really nothing there besides talking to other people. So if you're going to block or I'm not gonna say unfriend because in this case you're not even. It's literally like the first time you ever interact with them. If you're going to block or stop people from being able to contact you, then why are you on social media? It's just like all those chicks talk about. I don't. Well, no, Gem. Actually, on Discord, there are no pictures of me. So nice try. They said they didn't like my username and my avatar was not me, and their avatar was not them, and their username was not their actual name. So they're just full of crap. It's that simple. So people will have a problem with you over anything. Imagine you in real life, somebody says hi to you, and you like get up and walk away from. Oh, why'd you ignore them? Oh, I didn't like their name. Jim's always trying to rush over to the other person's team to defend them. He always sides with the other side. That's why his username on Twitter was Benedict4222 because he always betray you and give you a knife right in the back. I just can't believe you. I mean, I thought you wanted to to speak, but you just didn't. Then you need to try and find ways to start over and try with someone else, even after getting a lot of negative experiences. Yeah, and at a certain point, you just get burnt out. Like you just get tired of it. Like I tell you that one of the things on Piss Court that stuck the most to me, and I didn't make a video about this. I think I just mentioned in the stream was that there was a woman who spoke to me and played games with me and some other people for like 5 hours straight. Um, whole bunch of different matches, whole bunch of just little, like banter, whatever. And at the end of this, she says she enjoyed speaking to me. I sent a friend request. She accepts. I'm like, okay, cool. We're gonna talk again, whatever. I go to sleep. I wake up, and I'm now blocked by this person. I think to myself, that's BS, right? Like the idea that you spend all this time with somebody and then it ends up being all for nothing in such a short amount of time because right after they do one thing, they do the complete opposite. It's like that's why I said chicks are insane. Um, Again, another good example was you can go and watch this one. What was it? Uh, it was a dingbats. It was like a stream I did all with all D's in the title, dissecting a dingbats Discord delusion or something to that effect. But it was like, here's this woman who sits here and has a damn near 3 hour call with me. Just me and her answering all these questions. I answer her questions, right? And at the end of it, the next time you speak to her, well, I don't like having DM calls and you're in the server and you can speak to me and my friend. Like, why do I have to speak to your friends to speak to you? And then because I said, there was this running gag where she would say, "You don't even like me." I'm like, "Oh yeah, I like you." And then she tried to say that this was me, or that she thought this was me coming on to her. I was like, "This is stupid." So I just unfriended her and got out the damn server. But you get the idea that like they'll do something that's like a heavy investment of someone's time, and then it's followed by like basically what they did was a red herring. It's a complete reverse that they'll do sometimes in like it's not even like, hey, you know what? You spoke to this person, they felt uncomfortable because you said it. No, it's literally, oh, I enjoyed it. We had so much fun. You want to do it again? No, thank you. It's like it's weird. Now, Jem, I know you love women and you always defend them and you always are sitting on their side in the courthouse, but this you have to admit this just doesn't make sense. Oh, and let's not forget who's the other one? God, there's so many instances of that where they'll spend so much time with some guy, and it'll be followed by a complete reversal. I'm tired of it. I'm really tired of it. Oh man. Again, what's the point of investing all this time in these bastards if they're just gonna throw you away? Usually over nothing and out of nowhere. Because like I said, it used to be that you talk to somebody, maybe you said something that upset them, maybe they said something that upset you. Um, But now it really is just you talk to this person, you get a little bit of a good thing going with them for a tiny amount of time, and then you're out of here. Same with me too. And it isn't like I was showing romantic interest in them. Oh, they always think like they've convinced themselves every man that talks to them wants to be their boyfriend. It doesn't matter what the subject is, what the conversation's about. Remember with Triple L, you're talking about the damn news. Just a warning, I'm not looking for anything romantic 7 years into something. And then as you speak to this person for the next several months, and they never mention the fact that they're with someone ever again because they're actually not. They're just a liar. Oh, and they use the coded language, right, to hint at wanting that with you after man, that whole thing was just a circus. Just wanted merely to be friends with or someone to talk to with some regularity. Oh no, that's too much. I told you this era is so backwards that you can't even get members of like people that you live with will put on headphones or they'll be 2 feet away staring at their screen for five for anywhere from 8 to 15 hours straight and not say a single word to you the whole day unless you say something to them. That's considered normal now. They are getting attention left and right. They get to cherry pick. Well, not for me. Told you all those dating sites and Reddit and all that's all gone. Man, if I log my Reddit account, I see private messages from like, with the exception of maybe 2 or 3 instances where it's just me talking to people about stuff I liked. You'll see nothing but private messages from 5, 6 years ago. It's dead. I'm not interested in that site anymore. This whole thing of talking to chicks, it is. I just couldn't care less, man. They are an antiquated thing that has no longer really has any purpose for me. Yeah, it's extremely aggravating. I mean, why spend all this time talking to somebody who you're not trying to actually develop anything with? Like I don't purposely have hours long calls with people I don't plan on speaking to, afterward. It doesn't make any sense. I've never accepted somebody's friend request and then unfriended them like hours later. Actually, what's kind of funny is that, and I think I mentioned this in the video, that the woman that's in the banana penalty, that insane broad, actually, after I did my original like mention of this, sent me a friend request and I accepted, and that's when she revealed the supposed now true reasons for why she wasn't speaking to me, and then like after getting coerced by her boyfriend, unfriended me. I was like, so wait a second. She sent me a friend request to apparently make amends with me, only to then have the guy wake up around the same time and argue with him or have whatever dialogue with him, to where she just completely subjects herself to whatever he desires, and then like it's just it's stupid. That's why I called it a revolving door. I'm telling you, when she unfriended me, I think that was on a Thursday or a Wednesday. When I asked, why do you keep doing this, you better believe I came home, I was typing on that computer like a locomotive. That got that script already. Somebody made a very unnecessary video about me. It's like, what was unnecessary about it? I'd love to know. You probably don't remember, Megumi, but I mentioned that there was a woman who like last year, I got into this thing with where because I asked her directly, "Do you even still want to talk to me? It's been a month since we've last spoken." That person ended up blocking me, and I did a video about how like stupid she was for doing that. And then there was a new account this year that subscribed to me publicly, so I got a notification that subscribed to me. Then after like 2 3 weeks, it unsubscribed to me, and then it was like putting stuff similar to mine in a playlist, but never anything from me. And I said, who could have so much animosity, like passive aggressive animosity towards me, out of all the people I supposedly have never met, other than the one from last year? And when I went, and literally that same individual, after disappearing since this summer, suddenly reappeared on to speak to that the one in the banana penalty, and like was talking to I just found that funny. Like, that's interesting that you like this person's stuff so much that every video they made in between July and what October or November, you never left any comments on, but now suddenly after they get a video done on them as you had on you, oh here you come. Totally not the same person. I'm telling you, man, people think we're so dumb. Oh yes, I do remember you noticing this stranger from that user inspected was the same, because it doesn't make sense for it to be anyone else. Like that, out of all the people I've spoken to online who made videos, that was the only one up until this last one who I had a falling out with. Um, and I was like, okay, you know what? Video time. You get to sit here and waste my time for a month waiting for you to speak to me, and then when I ask point blank, do you even still want to keep speaking? You block me. Okay. Some chicks really do some very weird stuff, stalking and all sorts. Well, that's the funniest thing. They act like women are not weird, you know? They act like it's just these crazy guys online talking about chicks and being so scary. It's like you look at the way that these women act, it's nuts. Like, again, here's a broad that agreed to talk to me on another website, and then like less than 2 weeks after that, started ignoring me. And then a week and a half after that, told me why she well, what I tried to trust her was the reason that she was ignoring me. Said she wouldn't do it again, then proceeded to keep doing it. At that point, I just, okay, to hell with it. This is stupid. I'm not going to keep wasting my time with this person. So all of August, September, and most of October goes by. Then this person reappears, apologizing for what they've done, uh, attempting to, I guess, restart what we've had before. Says that they're going to be available. Da, da, da. They stand me up again. So for a whole week, I'm in limbo. I'm like, hey, so are you going to talk to me again? Why do you keep doing this? Because I see them online. They unfriend me. I say, okay, you know what? That's it. I had patience, extreme patience. Videos coming. I do my video. They go on their channel talking trash about me without saying my name. I respond to it on one of my streams. Their little stupid friend and possibly their boyfriend come in the comment section, try arguing me, writing all this stuff that we've seen time and time again because we've been on this site for over 10 years. Then after this, they try to make this weird little attempt at speaking again and finally revealing the true reason, just to end up doing the exact same stupid stuff again with another unfriending. So it's that's why I said it's a revolving door, a whole literal circus of events. But ask yourself, what did I do wrong? Because remember what the guy said, she has tried to tell you in his stupid comment. I guess what drives me nuts, right, is that if this had ended back in July, there would have been no video. I would have said, wow, that was weird, right? Person you spoke to a few times for a few hours. But it's like, well, even if you don't see the video, you now know what the sequence of events was, right? Where I left this person alone after 3 weeks of dealing with their insanity, and then they reappear and trying to make it seem like they understand what they did was wrong because they're very apologetic, right? They're always saying sorry for something, which is kind of rare because chicks don't ever show any accountability for anything they do at any point, but in general. But it's like somehow if you read the comment from that guy, it's my fault. I need to move on. It's like I did move on. That's why for all of August, September, and almost all of October, there was nothing. I wasn't bothering this person. I wasn't trying to DM them. Hey, have you? I didn't care. I was done with them. Move on. That's hilarious. I like how everybody has a different version of move on. Like if you mention these chicks years after you last spoke to them, uh, even if you're not bothering them, even if you're not trying to like get back in contact, if you just mention what happened, you need to move on. It's like I have. That's why I'm not trying to get in this person's graces or have any kind of reestablished connection with them. We're done. So that guy is so dumb, man. It's crazy how we tried to give her a second chance and we got the second what was that the same result again. It kind of reminds me of that guy I knew on Discord where he was, I think I mentioned it was like last year, um where we would speak by like I guess just private VCs or whatever, and they do it to themselves though. Well, that's my thing, that all the rest of this stuff came from her basically making a season 2. You know what? Remember how all these video games have DLC? Like the main story was this summer, and then all the stuff she did over the course of last month was DLC. Like we knew she was crazy back in July. That's why we left her alone. But she came with this expansion pack with these extra missions with more backstory and lore and the return of other characters and no, I don't like revolving doors. I'm not a fan of those. Like she was talking about, oh, maybe we can speak on each other's channels occasionally. I was like, no, we're not doing no half measures. Sorry. The hell I look like going to your channel. How have you been in the last 15 weeks? I already told you before. This is another nail in that coffin of remember the world's finest men, where it's like you're single because there's something wrong with you. You're so boring. You're such a bad person. Da, da, da. It's okay. Well, if I'm so bad, why does this woman with a boyfriend want to speak to me? Interesting. Remember, if these boyfriends are so great, wouldn't that be all they need? He's so perfect and amazing, and he's not always like this. So wouldn't that be enough? You would think, if you listen to the rhetoric of people online. I just find it so fascinating how they just I'm saying chicks will drive you to your grave. Like so much nonsense, so much stupidity, so much time wasting. Like, because that was the part that drove me crazy. Like, I really sat here and spoke to this bimbo for what must have been 9, 10 hours altogether between these different calls I had with this person back over the summer. And I was like, that was all so that what, after a few weeks, she would start ignoring me. Yes, a lot of the time they tend to encourage or hint at they may be interested in you romantically, even when they already dating someone else. Well, I don't think she did personally, and I know I didn't. My only point I'm making with that is that people try to trash talk men who are single and say there's something wrong with you, you got problems, oh, da, da, da. But if you're such a boring, awful human being, and this because this means right that the guys who are with some woman are just perfect, right? Okay, what is she getting from speaking to you that she can't get from speaking to her boyfriend? You know what I mean? Like if you're so bad and so awful and so mediocre, why are you being talked to for this extremely for these like excessive durations of time? I don't get it. Like those two things don't mesh together. Even Jem is scratching his head on that one. I tell you, they are insane, man. I wonder why they always seem very keen on talking to you for some reason. Dude, my favorite time any of that happened was with the one chick that agreed to marry me and then like very quickly reneged. When I was like actually through with speaking to her, I'll never forget. It was the first day after I just like stopped responding to her. First, she sent me a message on Google Hangouts. That was the main place we would speak. Didn't respond to this, right? Then she sent me, and this is like within hours, a message on Skype. Didn't respond to that either. Um, then she wrote a comment, like I because I put up a video that day because I was just like uploading stuff. She wrote a comment on the video, hey, I'm trying to reach you. It's like, Bimbo, go away. We're done. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not kidding. Some of these like it's funny, everybody always talks about like the man is obsessed, right? But I'm telling you, some of these chicks, what it is that they get used to an idea, right? Like, oh, I can keep this man at arm's length as just a friend forever and he'll be fine with that. And then when you say, you know what, I'm done with this, I'm sick of it, this whole little thing of will they, won't they, this isn't friends, this is redundant, I'm through. Some of them really can't handle it. But I guess they probably just want the best of both. They absolutely want the best of both worlds. By the way, the one in the banana penalty is she's really stupid because um if you like listen, I couldn't imagine if I was dating a woman who didn't want me to talk to another woman that I honestly was not having any type of affair with or whatever. I don't know why I couldn't just not tell them that I'm speaking to this person. Like it's really like basically you would almost think the guy is her dad or something. Just the amount of stuff that he's privy to and just how everything has to be run by him. It's like that's crazy. So I said the hell with being in a romantic relationship if it means the other person gets to control who you talk to and all, that's nuts. Yeah, I remember having to change my phone number one time because this one woman I was trying to cut off. But remember, it's the guys. They get obsessed with women. She was crazy. No, remember, it's only men who are obsessed with women. It's never the other way around. I really did feel kind of uncomfortable when she kept trying to like message me all those because it was just like I didn't respond to you on one site. Why would I respond to you on this other one? At the other job I had, there was this woman that was like ask. The first thing she asked me was, "What's your major?" Because she just assumed I'm in college for some reason. Not for some reason. Um, Then the next time I was there was she was asking me, "What do I like to do?" And I said, "I like to draw." And then after that, she was asking, "What do I like to draw?" And I'm just, I at one point I said to her like, "Why?" Because again, what is with all of you know what I'm talking about? It almost feels like you're like you did an interview to get the job. Now there's another interview by this person that works with you, and it just was weird, man. Remember, they don't actually care about you because guess what? You stop working there, you will never see that person again. That's been the one through line all these jobs. They can sit there and talk all that stuff to you, but if you stop working there, that's it. They don't really care. It's more like small talk. That's how I usually feel when those questions are asked to me in the workplace. And I never engage in that. I never go, "Hey, how long have you been working here? How old are you? What hours are you here for?" Just I don't. It's stupid, man. Because again, I don't pretend to be interested in people that I'm not interested in. I always I always let them ask me the 900 questions. Jem said, "How dare you?" He remembers when his second ex girl, his the second woman he dated, basically told him, "You either date me or I'll expose everything about you. The cases in Virginia, the body in D.C." He was like, "We can't let her get. We have to make some kind of compromise. She knows too much." No, my favorite anecdote was when after that thing with the woman and the banana penalty happened. Um, Butt Muncher 45 was like, "She's not even pretty enough for me to date her." Because that was a joke I had to like. I didn't even know like. I still don't even know what she looks like. So the idea that I've been seduced by this woman who I don't even know the actual appearance of. I just find hilarious. I'm so enthralled and mesmerized by this faceless broad online. Like they're really stupid. That's why I said the paranoia of that guy is just dumb. Like I could post a whole chat logs between me and her. There was no exchange of pictures or anything beyond. I mean, it's just dumb, man. Like it's really dumb. I tell you that she admitted her boyfriend was harassing her over the summer. It's like, okay, so you like being harassed. Stayed with him anyway. I think it all has to do with a lot of guys online being seduced by chicks who don't show their faces to them. Well, I mean, yeah, but doesn't that kind of run counterintuitive to the narrative that men are on the internet are only concerned about the way a woman looks? Like that's why they're on all these different websites like Instagram and OnlyFans, all the rest of that trash, where they're like looking at pictures and going, So if you're seduced by one just from hearing her voice, wouldn't that be more telling of a natural, actual connection with this person? I just thought that was hilarious. Like she was calling herself ugly. I was like, I guess I don't know. I'm saying I feel like before this year is over, we got to just get a roundup of all the times that a woman accused or acted in some way that was accusatory of me of thinking that I wanted to date them or whatever. It's so redundant and stale. Like remember, it was around this time last year we had the broad that was working in the same building as me, and she gave me her work email. I asked her what are her hobbies, and her response to that was, "I'm traveling around the over the holidays with my BF. See you next year." What? You ever believe I didn't respond to that? Said the hell with this. I'm telling you, man, chicks are the worst. Like, oh my god, they ruin everything they touch. You could ask a woman, like, you could be outside and it could be snowing, and ask a woman, "Hey, are you cold?" I'm with someone. Like, okay, I mean, all right, whatever. I'm surprised when you go to a like a coffee place, you ask the lady, "Hey, can you are you do you work here?" Or she got her uniform. I have a lover. It's like, all right, okay. I never understand understood that being seduced by a voice, but I do understand it would feel a more actual connection than not seeing their face or appearance at all. Well, you know what I mean, as far as like this is someone I actually spoke to for continue like multiple times for a I'd say fairly lengthy session. So at least if I had been enthralled with her, I could say that it was an actual person I spoke to, and not, oh, I looked at her picture and she was so pretty. But even then, I still wouldn't bother like actually trying to do anything with her. That's a recipe for disaster. You might as well just give up on living at that point because everything they do that's stupid, get ready to get blamed for it. Everything, all of it, just your fault. He made me uncomfortable. She likes being controlled, so huge red flag there. Oh, she absolutely she likes being controlled, and she likes like listen, you. I'm not even gonna say this. I think she might have been turned on by getting mentioned in the video and then having a video made on her or whatever. Because think about this: most of the times when someone has one of those done on them, at least from what I've seen, they're not even aware of it because they don't watch me. But it's like after that happens, you make sure to in your public comment section talk about me without saying my name, knowing that I'm a fairly I was before I got blocked, a fairly avid viewer of their stuff. So I'm probably going to see it. And that's how I did see it because I went and rewatched one of their videos and I looked in the comments. I was like, what the but I think that's like a thing that she's attracted to, just like being trashed and talked badly about, and because she does it to herself, her own self-loathing, where she calls herself ugly and just stuff like that. So that's another red flag we could throw out. Dude, my favorite part is when she said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I blocked." It's like, no, it's fine. I'm not. It's like because she was like, "Oh, are you gonna leave any comments?" Like, what's the point of me ever commenting on your channel again if I know that at a whim, you could just make it to where I can't write anything anymore. Like, why would I bother? Because with most of the big channels, you could write a comment that they like or don't like. They're not going to see it anyway. Like, there's so many people that basically everyone around them is just ants. Um, so like whatever you write doesn't really matter as far as affecting your ability to write something. But with these smaller ones where they are just like sitting there staring at who's typing what, there's no point in writing anything to them because they're gonna just if they get mad at you. Dude, all my comments to her before I did the video were always nice. Hey, good job on this, good job on that. I like this part. And in spite of always being decent to this person on their channel, I was blocked anyway. So I said, no, no more. You'll never see another You can unblock me 10 times. You would never see me write another thing on your channel. That's it. For all my stuff to get deleted like that for really no damn reason. I blocked him after he made a video on me, after I unfriended him, after he patiently waited for me to address why I stood him up from a time that I said I would speak to him, which I had promised to do and then lied on. But like literally, it's all like a was this like dominoes? Like if she had actually had the call with me and not stood me up, um, like last month, right? Then I wouldn't have for over a week been like, hey, so are you going to tell me why you're acting like this again? which would not have been followed by her unfriending me, which would then not have been followed by within hours me doing a video, which would then not have been followed. You get how like there was a whole sequence of a fallout that happened from her ignoring me, and then like the stuff she does is gets escalations from me because it's like you're basically telling this person that waited patiently for you and who you came back to with the premise that you're no longer going to act crazy. Yeah, I'm acting crazy again. What are you going to do about it? It is weird. That's be the last comment of the whole stream. Just weird. Yeah, I agree. It all stemmed from her purposely ignoring you, and we know it was on purpose because we saw because on Discord you have the option to make yourself offline, online, whatever. We saw that she was online and just would not type anything back. And literally, if she had just spoken to me or said, "Hey, I got this thing that came up. Maybe we can just whatever." I wouldn't have done any video. But to ignore someone on the day you say you're going to talk to them, so you're a liar, and then just keep ignoring them, and then when they point blank ask you, "Why do you keep doing this to me?" That's the question I asked. I didn't call her out of her name, anything. Then you unfriend that person. So that's your way of trying to swat them away, right? And they're like, you know what? To hell with this. And then you do your video. He made a very unnecessary video on me. It's like, yeah, it came from your lies, your inability to stick to what you said you would do, and then your attempt to basically treat the person like a pest. Like literally, I felt like a fly being swatted away when I was unfriended after asking a very basic, non-rude, direct question. So okay, you don't want to talk directly to me? Okay, let's see. Let's see. We'll put something out about this. How about that? Stupid bastards. And her little sycophant friend, her friend that likes her so much but can never comment on her stuff. That's another one of the face hiders. They're all hiding their faces and gonna talk about somebody else. You're acting like a kid in elementary school with these good. Maybe some of you bastards need to go back to preschool. You can learn how to treat people like human beings. They will always find that was the part that just drove me crazy. People can treat you like garbage. They can call you out of your name. They can ignore you. They can write stuff about you on their own damn page. But if you do a video on them, oh my God. That block feature is heavily overused, swatting away anything or anyone they don't want to deal with at the press of a button. And dude, you like in instances where I've done it, it's people who are messing with me. Someone asking direct, like literally, if she had answered and said, "Look, I just don't want to talk anymore," I would have left the bastard alone. When she started ignoring me again at the end of July, didn't see a peep out of me. Pretend like I was dead. I pretend like she didn't exist. I just kept doing my own thing, whatever. And then she came back with all this other nonsense. No, the block feature is heavily overused. And they use it for the stupidest purposes too. Like they're not even being harassed by someone. They're it's literally a person asked them a question. Like it doesn't matter. It's just right now. If Jem writes, "How have you been?" I go, block. If Akatsuki Merchant writes, "Are you gonna make another video?" That's all they use that thing for now. Anytime they see something they don't like, or a person that they don't want to talk to sends them a message, they can't just ignore it. They have to block them. I'll never forget being blocked for saying hi. by someone I actually went to school with too. I was like, wow. That's why I said the internet has allowed people to treat other human beings like pests, um, in very unnecessary ways, and to pretty much like it goes like this. They can treat you any way they want because they think there's no consequence for it. And as long as they believe that, they'll keep doing it. It's really annoying. It's outdated. It's overdone. It's been used excessively by people who really, like I said, it's I'm just that's one of the reasons why I'm so reluctant to even bother with a lot of these individuals. And that's why the thing with her stuck out to me as much as it did, because it was an attempt at just having a friendship with a woman, and then it like spiraled out of control because of stupid stuff that she kept doing. But yeah, this is just the modern era. It's all a waste and blocks. Waste and blocks. That's the name of the stream. Just waste and blocks. People waste food right at these jobs. They waste people's time with these hour-long calls to somebody that they're not even going to talk to again. Uh, and of course, they'll block somebody for saying hi to them. They'll block somebody for asking them a question. Not even a rude one. Like, I could see if I sent her a message and I was like, "Hey, so what's your bra size?" Like, yeah, I get that, but it's like, why do you keep doing this? Blocked. Do you even still want to speak to me? Blocked. How come they can do or say anything to you, which is fine, but if you respond to it in any form they don't like, they have a problem with it because again, they want to control what they say and do to you, but then also control how you respond to it. It's not enough for them to, unfriend you, block you, stop speaking to you, whatever. They need to make sure that you're not saying anything about them on your channel or wherever you might write something. They can talk about you on theirs, but if you talk about them, oh man. There's this guy. Those double standards, man, they never cease to amaze me. People can just do whatever they want to you, and if you better respond in the way that they like. You better. But yeah, my friendship with her flopped like the Marvels, except at least it didn't cost me any money. No, she is just a consummate liar, man. Like, but no, I would recommend that if you meet another woman, you just be careful because they can sit there and gas you up and talk about how much they like you and they consider you a friend and you're so fun to talk to. And I mean, like they do all that stuff, but it doesn't mean anything. It's just all worthless crap. And again, now we know for a fact that even if you can't control how someone would respond back to the way you treated them badly. Oh yeah, they don't want to admit that. But we're at a point now where we know that even if you have no romantic desire towards a woman, it will be construed as that anyway. You can just talk to one of them the way you would talk to another man, and they would be like, there'll be somebody like, you're trying to date this person. I'm sick of it. And again, it's one thing to be accusatory towards someone, right? Like, I think he wants to date, but then to like be the reason, right? Outside, like an outside force that says, I think this person wants you. I think you're cheating with them. Stop speaking to them. Like that's crazy. Like I said, I can go through all those messages. There's nothing in there romantic at all. It is such a joke. Nothing but lies. But I'm not again, I'm not even shocked. This is just the nature of how people are. They couldn't tell the truth if their life depended on it is wasted. Like, dude, imagine meeting someone who you connect with in some way where you have similar hobbies, interests, and they claim they enjoy speaking, they actually mean it. Like you could have calls with that person. It could just be once a week, twice a week, but it would still go a long way as far as, hey, maybe people in my own physical life aren't really that appealing, but hey, here's this person I look forward to speaking to them. It's nice, a little breather from the rest of the mundane excess that we have so often. But they don't want to live up to that potential. They don't want to have some endearing, mutually beneficial dialogue that appeals to both sides. They want to have their cake and eat it too. They want to stay with their controlling uh, boyfriend that they've known for 2 years, and if it means treating someone that has done nothing but treat them well like trash, they're gonna do it. He's my boyfriend, and I'm gonna choose him. I'm sorry. When I read that, I made a promise myself. This is the last time. There will be no more second chances and do overs. All the revolving door stuff is done. That's it. You want to date some guy that controls you that much? We're gonna let you lay in your waist. Yeah, just one person to have a genuine companionship with similar interests, many points of agreement. But they ruin it. They destroy it. You can't have nice things. Not with chicks anyway. So again, I'm just past the point of caring about these broads, man. I think they're a real waste of everyone's time and energy. I would recommend staying away from as many of them as you can. Of course, the ones you have to work with, you deal with those, but whatever. It just seems like there's nothing to gain from trying to do something with one of them. I'm not saying that to be mean or it's the truth. Like every time you try to just casually speak to one of them, it gets misinterpreted. They stop being interested out of the blue. I mean, I'm sick of it. I'm really tired of it. So that's that. Um, I have to go and run my errands because I have like must be two or three. I have one thing I could put off until tomorrow. I've got one thing I definitely have to do today. Uh, so I hope you enjoyed the stream. I feel the same way. Yeah, it is very degrading, man. You would think all these different chicks, at least some of them would be different, but no, same result over and over. Maybe it varies in terms of did you actually want to date this person? Are they just accusing you? How long before? But it's the same old trash. So thanks for showing up, Megumi. Jem was here earlier. Kotsky Merchant had a fun little cameo. And remember, even when you think you're progressing in terms of your relationships with some woman that you want to be friends with or talk to or having meaningful dialogue with, all it takes is her acting stupid and blowing it up. And they will do that over anything because you don't matter to them. Your dialogue doesn't matter to them. Um, you're just this thing for them to throw around, and they also want to control how you respond with which they will never be able to. So, thanks for showing up, and have a good rest of your weekend. I'll be back on Monday.